if you're like most people in the world, you're probably writing a lot of email every day. And when you're doing that, you may be facing one of two problems, or perhaps both these problems. The first is usually that it's taking you too long. You wish that you could do it faster. The second one is even after it takes you some time, you're not sure if it's even right. And that is extremely worrisome and distressing, right? You want to be sure that when you write an email, that it's correct. So in this lesson, what I'm going to do is to show you a way that you can write more quickly and correctly and easily. The way we're going to do that is we're going to look at certain expressions which you can use in this case to convey or to give good news and bad news. Okay, so let's look at what they are. So I've divided the board in a certain way because sometimes you're going to need to write to a friend or maybe just a colleague at work. And so you're going to be more informal. And other times you have to be more formal. Maybe you're writing to a client. Maybe you're writing to a director or manager. So you want to be more formal. So we're basically looking at good news with the smiley face or bad news, okay, with the sad face. And we're going to look at how to communicate that informally and formally. So let's get started. So let's suppose that somebody is writing to you. Let's suppose it's a teacher. Let's suppose that you appeared for an exam and there was good news. All right, good news. Now, in this case, let's pretend that a teacher is writing to you, a teacher you've known well. So the teacher is going to be quite informal with you. And maybe he or she would write, I'm happy to tell you that, okay? I'm happy to tell you that you passed the exam. Okay? The good news is what? You passed the exam. But what's the expression that can be used? I'm happy to tell you that. Okay? Now, the expressions that I'm giving you here, of course, is this the only way to say that? Of course not. There are a million ways that you can say the same thing. But I want to make your life easier so you don't have to think of the million ways. You just learn one or two ways or four ways, and you can be sure that you'll always be right. Okay? So let's go over it again. The informal way to communicate good news. I'm happy to tell you that you passed the exam. Now, let's pretend you got the same information from the actual organization from which you did the exam. They're not your friends. They're going to write you in a more formal way. So they may say, I'm pleased, or probably if it's from an organization, we are pleased to inform you that. So what changed? Happy changed to pleased, and tell you changed to inform you, because this is more formal language. We could also say, we're delighted to inform you that you passed the exam. See the difference? I'm happy to tell you that you passed the exam. We're delighted to inform you that you passed the exam. That's it. Okay? Those are the key words you have to learn. Now let's look at how we can use similar words for passing on or communicating bad news. Okay? So let's suppose that somebody didn't pass the exam. So then the teacher writes to that person and says, I'm sorry to tell you that you did not pass the exam. Or the more formal way to say that would be what? We regret to inform you that you did not pass the exam. Again, the same vocabulary is happening here, right? Tell becomes inform. And here, I'm sorry, which is the informal way that we communicate that, becomes I regret. I regret means I'm sorry. It's just a more formal expression. And again, if you're writing from an organization, then you might want to say we. Sometimes if you're writing from an organization, you can still say I because you're signing it at the bottom. Okay? So let's run through that again. I'm happy to tell you that you passed the exam. we're pleased to inform you that you passed the exam. I'm sorry to tell you that you did not pass the exam. We regret to inform you that you did not pass the exam. Okay? So, these are the expressions. Now we're going to practice using them in different situations. Let's do that next. Okay. So now together, we're going to take these 6 situations where we are communicating either good news or bad news, and either in an informal way or a formal way. To make your life a little bit easier, I wrote the basics of those expressions that you can use. Okay, so let's look at what they are again, and then you'll see which one to use in which context. So, if it's good news, we can either say, I'm happy to tell you, or we're pleased to inform you. If it's bad news, I'm sorry to tell you, or I regret to inform you. Okay, so they're up here. You can look at them, and if you need to, as we're working through them, if you're not sure what the answer is, just pause the video, think about it. You could even pause it right now, write out your answers or say your answers if you want, or else do it together with me. Okay, I'll help you. All right, so let's look at the first situation. Your loan has been approved. Okay, so is that good news or bad news, first of all? That is usually good news, all right? So we're in the good news area. And the way it has been written, do you feel this is formal or informal? It's probably more formal. So we would say something like, I am, what? Pleased to inform you that your loan has been approved. We are pleased to inform you that your loan has been approved. Okay, that's good news in a formal way. Let's look at the second one now. You got the job. Okay, good news or bad news? Good news. Does it sound formal or informal? It sounds informal, right? So, let's say your mom or your brother or someone is writing to you and say, hey, I got the letter. Guess what? I'm happy to tell you, you got the job. Okay? Or a colleague is telling you, you got the job. I'm happy to tell you, you got the job. Okay? All right. Next, number 3. Your flight has been canceled. Good news or bad news? Probably bad news for most people if they have plans, right? And this letter is probably coming from the airline itself. So it's going to be formal or informal? Formal. So let's look at the bad news and formal. So they would probably write something like, we regret to inform you that your flight has been canceled. Okay, see how easy that was? Basically, you have to think, am I writing good news or bad news? Is it an informal communication or is it something more formal? Okay, good. Let's look at number 4. I cannot attend the conference. Okay, this is in a business context. And it's probably, let's say, bad news. All right. So you're being pretty formal. So again, you would say, I regret to inform you that I cannot attend the conference. Okay? Do you see how just learning a few short phrases can help you to communicate so many different things? Okay, whether you're working in really any department, but especially in customer service type of situations and contexts when you're communicating with customers, with clients, and you're sending a lot of emails, this can save you so much time, okay? But really it applies to anyone who is writing and communicating any kind of good news or bad news. Next, let's look at number 5. You have received a full scholarship to university. Good or bad? That is good news, of course. So, And it's a letter, let's say, that's coming from the university. So what would they write? They would say, we are pleased or even delighted. Remember the other word we had learned? We are delighted to inform you that you have received a full scholarship to university. Okay? See how that works? So easy. Okay, and the last one here. Your order has been delayed. Okay, good or bad news? Probably bad news. And is it formal or informal? It is formal. So we come to the bad news section. All right. And what would you say? Or what would they write? Or if you have to be in that position to communicate that to a customer, I regret to inform you, or we regret to inform you that your order has been delayed. Okay? So this is the way to master your email writing by dividing it up into different contexts. I will probably be recording other lessons similar to these that are easy email English. All right. And then by learning these expressions, it will shorten the time that it takes you to write. You will write correctly and you'll write confidently because you know it's right. Okay. All right. So these were a few tips that I gave you. And just those few tips can make such a big difference to your everyday life. Similarly, I've actually created another course, an online course called Correct Your English Errors in 10 Minutes a Day. And in this course, just like this, in a short sessions, short lessons, we correct more than 150 different mistakes in grammar, vocabulary, writing, pronunciation, and so on. You might want to check that out. I'll put a link in the lesson description. Okay. And don't forget to go to engVid.com in order to do a quiz on this because you've done it now. You've practiced it. I'm sure you'll probably use it in the course of this week or maybe just tomorrow, or if you're watching from work in case, maybe you'll try it right now. Okay. But it's always good to practice a little bit more and be sure that you've understood it. Okay. So go to our quiz at www.engvid.com and make sure that you get a fuller understanding of it and good practice in it. Okay. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and ring the bell so you will be notified every time every time I release and you can receive my new lesson. Okay. Thanks very much for watching. All the best with your English. Bye for now.